G'day, Grievers. Welcome back to the Shxtty Kitty Kitchen. The sun is streaming in right on this spot. This live is going to be super quick because we're literally making the bread dough. As you can probably tell from the title, we've got some caramelized onion no-knead tray bread that we're making today. But yeah, for the moment, we're just going to make the dough. It's going to have to proof for about an hour. This camera is just refusing to behave itself. And then I'll end this live. We're going to make a spiced carrot soup. Yum, yum, yum. And then I'll be coming back later for us to do the actual assembling of the bread. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Thank you for dropping in. Like I said, this is going to be a pretty quick little straightforward making a bread dough. But first thing I'm going to do is wash my hands. I always wash my hands before I go live, but I think when you're making bread or pasta or something like that, really important to do it on camera too, just so people don't gross out. Although, actually, some of the girls at work will probably eat some of this bread tomorrow too. So this is going to be essentially dinner tonight and then lunches possibly for the next couple of days at work. But first up, we're going to put the dough ingredients. Now, we're using 00 flour, which is usually more known to be used for making pasta, as you can tell by the box. But when a recipe says you've got to use the 00 flour, we're using that. We want 3.5 cups of it as well. Now, I've also got some bread dough because I'm part of cheap and cheery cooking is breads. Can be quite expensive on your grocery bill, but bread flour and so on. What are you doing, Sonny? She's right down here trying to get up onto the shelf where I've taken this bowl out. You going to get in there? The Shxtty Kitty. She's not shitty, but I always wanted to have a cafe or a restaurant called the Shxtty Kitty Kitchen. That's where the name came from. I knew this flour is going to be tricky. Hang on, I'm going to get a big spoon. You're funny, Sonny. What are you doing? So yeah, 3.5 cups of the flour. Now, I can't remember the last time I made bread. I mean, I make flatbreads a lot still, but like an actual bread, I don't know. But here we are. And this one doesn't this one isn't a kneady bread. It doesn't need any kneading. But I figured it's because this has to proof for an hour. It's like, just go live and make it. Come back and do the soup. And then finish off the bread. That'd be 2 cups. If you're more of a measurer person, 560 grams of this flour is the same as 3.5 cups of it. Oh, my only lurkers left. Come back. I'm lonely. I'm so lonely. All right, 3. It is a gorgeous day for some people. I'm sure people have got much better things to do than watch me making some dough. And I've got a little 1/2 cup measurer here too. And I'm making a lot of mess because, you know, I don't believe in clean cooking. Part of the fun of cooking is you're in a space that you get to clean up at the end. So why not make it messy, huh? Especially when you're using shit like flour. All right, so there's our 3.5 cups of flour. Done. Next up, we want to add 2 teaspoons of dried yeast. These little sachets that I bought, as I said, I had to buy these to make this bread, but I'm going to see what the equivalent is of 1 sachet. Does it actually tell me? No. All it says is don't keep an opened sachet. Look, I can't even remember the last time I bought yeast. So we've got our little sachets. I feel like they might be about 2 teaspoons. Let's find out for future reference. I won't have to actually measure it next time. I'll know. Get my little teaspoon measurer and let's see. 1. Spot on. Bang on. 2 teaspoons per bag. There you go. It must be like a standard ratio. So that's that. That's good to know. File that information away for future reference. Oh, we've got to put some caster sugar in. Okay. We are adding a tablespoon of caster sugar, or superfine as some people call it. Oops, shit. I should have just put that straight in the jar. I'm all over the place. It's Sunday. My brain has well and truly switched off. We're going to add a couple of teaspoons of sea salt from the little salt pig. That sun streaming in is making me want to get back outside. But I always do some cooking on Sunday, irrespective of the weather. If the weather's gorgeous, I get on the beach, I do all sorts of stuff, make the most of it, because I know I'll be in the kitchen for a couple of hours every Sunday during my pre-week cook up. Now, these are all things that I had bought ingredients for a while ago to make. And it's like, just get on with it and make it. You've got it. We need 1.5 cups of lukewarm water. So I'll be back. I'm just going to go over to the sink. And so lukewarm baby bath water temperature. This is the best way I can describe it, I guess. Not too cold, not too hot. Just lukewarm. Tepid. I think it was 1.5 cups. Tiny bit more. There we go. So 1.5 cups. That goes in as well. And lastly, 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, or just olive oil. Obviously, the stronger it is, the more flavour it's going to give, but this is going to have caramelised onions all over it too. So 1/4 cup of non-extra virgin olive oil won't make a difference, or a mild flavoured one. This is a fairly light flavoured one, but so that's it. And then we're going to mix it all together. Bring out the wooden spoon. I'll probably end up doing a bit of mixing with my hands if necessary, just to get it all together. I love making doughs because it's something pretty new to me, like recently doing the donut holes and stuff. But I love how you can feel what the dough is going to be like while you're mixing it, even using a spoon. Like you can glean the sort of textural. And we do want to mix this well to combine it all. And that's about as, now it is a no-knead bread, but, oh shit, I'm making so much mess. I'm having fun. We don't need to knead it, but sometimes for doughs, I find just mixing it with your hands is easier. Get all the bits of flour off the side of the bowl. You do want to make sure it's actually very sticky. Probably would have been better just to stick with my spoon, to be honest. In fact, I'm going to. That's probably why they said don't knead it. I do think hands are the best kitchen implements, but sometimes you've got to call it a day, especially when it's like a sticky dough like this one is. So we'll just get it all mixed together with our wooden spoon. It's pretty close to being done. But I'd lose half the dough if I kept doing it with my hands. So for those of you who, for some reason, don't like making bread that you have to knead, this is the recipe for you. That's all combined. And now it's really up to letting the yeast do its job. So we're going to cover it with a wet or a damp tea towel. Get a clean tea towel out of the drawer, and we're just going to wet it all over. You don't want it soaking wet, just dampen it. Got my Aussie flag tea towel. It was my dad's. Australians, oh, let us rejoice. Damp tea towel over the top. And we're going to let that rest for an hour, let it proof. So I'm going to hit a timer because I'll forget. I'm very good at that sort of stuff. 1 hour, she's good to go. And that's it. I will be back making the rest of the, or finishing off the bread. I'm actually going to fold that in half. The rest of the bread a bit later on, and I'll be back soon to make some spicy carrot soup. I hope you're all having a really good weekend, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Much love, and I'll see you all very soon. Happy cooking.